In today's video, I was recruited by my sister to install a deck gate on the back of her deck to keep her kids contained, and I quickly obliged. This only took me a single morning. It's super easy, and I wanted to share with all of you just how easy it is to make your own deck gate. Save yourself the money and give yourself a pat on the back for creating something so simple and yet so beautiful and functional. I hope you find this video helpful and it helps you complete your summer to-do list. Thank you guys for watching and enjoy the video. Good morning, you guys, and welcome to the channel, Heart and Home Crew. Today we are up really early. It is only 6:30 and I am already on my way to Home Depot. I did not know that they open at 6 a.m. It obviously makes sense for, you know, construction workers and stuff. I'm taking full advantage, but I look exhausted. It's because my poor baby boy has a fever, and so he was up multiple times last night, and so yeah, he's not feeling well, so hoping he feels better when he wakes up. But in the meantime, I had already had plans to sneak away and get some wood because I'm going to be making a gate for a deck, and this is to keep my sister's toddler from escaping. Anyways, you guys, let's be quiet because it's early. Let's go get some wood. Okay guys, we've made it to my sister's house, and this is the area right here where we are going to be building the deck gate. Now unfortunately there's a couple things working against us. So she does have this bolt sticking out of the side of this wood, so I'm gonna have to work around that somehow. And then also, just from the looks of it, this doesn't look completely completely level, and so that might change the width of the gate from the top and the bottom. The birds are beautiful and just rising this morning. It's only 7 a.m. I'm up here early getting this done so that hopefully they can enjoy it for the rest of the day. We're going to be filling this space with the gate. We'll be putting our latch over here and our hinges over here so that way it can open to the side and just kind of blend in with the railings that are already over here. Hopefully it's going to be a bit of a simple job. That's what I always pray and always say, and there's always something that goes wrong, so just keeping that in mind. Like I said, I'm nervous this bolt's going to give me the most trouble, but we'll see what we can do. So let's just go ahead and get started. You guys, this is huge. I think we're okay with the bolt. I was so nervous that I was going to have to notch this thing out, or just, you know, it just wasn't gonna work. But thank God whoever put this in, there's just enough room for my 2x4 to fit nicely, because, you know, the gate's gonna go here. There's gonna be the little latch on this side. We'll have a little gap here, and I'll show you from the other side, but it just butts up against it. So I think we can go ahead and get started and not really worry about it. So the lower bar is actually shorter than the top bar, unfortunately. This thing's not plumb. You can tell even that they had to bolt it to fix it. So that's a good reason why you want to measure both the top and the bottom, not just the top and assume, because then you might have the bottom be too wide and it's not going to be opening and closing like you want it to. So we're just going to make note of that adjustment, and the door should be totally fine. Alright you guys, that actually came together really nicely. The one thing I'll say that I didn't do, and I'm like, oh, such a small minor detail, but I feel like it matters, is cutting your boards and it has that like stamp on it, one, obviously try to cut away from that if you can, if you're able to with your measurements. Two, try and have them all on the same side, so then that way you can either have like no words when you're looking at it from coming up or the vice versa. But now I'm gonna go ahead, my corners look great, but I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in if there's any tiny little gaps or whatever with some wood glue and then some of the wood shavings from when I cut the wood. And I'm just gonna patch all that up and then we'll sand that smooth and it'll look so custom and beautiful. And you guys are almost done. Like this is, if you build a chicken coop, you can build anything, I feel like. So if you guys need some confidence, go build a chicken coop and then this is so easy. Once you've sanded it down nice and smooth, it's time to add our balusters. I measured the deck ones just so that way they would match. Mine were about 4 inches apart, which is pretty much to code. And then I started in the middle and went 4 inches off of that one, but I truthfully found that that was just too many balusters. So I ended up just spacing them 4 inches apart evenly, and that gave me 6 balusters. And now it's just time to cut them down to size. So I'm just measuring my gate. It is even on all sides, which is great. And then I just cut them down and now we're going to screw them in. I cut myself a spacing block just to make this job a whole lot easier. Basically, you just put it where you need it and put your baluster there, and then you screw them in. I'm using 2.5-inch deckmate screws. I'm putting 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom to make them nice and secure, and continuing along with that spacing block so I get the exact measurement that I need. All right, you guys, the gate is done for the most part. I still have to stain it, but I want to get it up first to make sure that, you know, everything works and everything looks good and it fits right. I told you at the beginning that the top was shorter than the bottom width-wise, and so I said I was going to take note of that, and what I meant was that I needed to figure out a way where it's still equal, because obviously you have to have all of your angles. I can't just cut the top one longer and the bottom one shorter to make it fit. That would have made a wonky door. And so we're just going to have a little bit more of a gap at the top, but I'm okay with that because that's also where the latch is going to be. And so to compensate for that, just in case, I have my normal size latch, you know, like a normal one that you would get. And then I also found when I went there, because I had to go back for hinges, the hinges that I originally bought, those work great if you have it on the post. If you're able to put those at the top of your gate, those would be great. But unfortunately, because we have behind me this, because it's going under the railing, I can't put it there. I have to have one of these hinges. So this is called a T-hinge. And so we're just gonna use those. It holds the same amount of weight. It's just a different look. You know, it doesn't have that like farmhouse gate style, which is totally fine because you're not really gonna see it anyways. But what I was saying was that I did find a different gate latch. So this one is basically just longer, and so that might actually work better. I'm gonna see when I go to hang it which one I want to use. And then it also says it self-adjusts to compensate for over a 1/2 inch in of gate sag. Self-adjust to compensate for over 1/2 inch, oh, the in is inch of gate sag. So that's just like a cool little feature, but I basically got it just to see if the other one was too short, because we now have a little bit more of a distance than I want to. That bug almost committed suicide. Okay, I need to focus. I want to get this done. All right, a little tip for you too, if you are alone and you don't have someone to help you hang up the gate, you can take a 2x4. I'm just using scraps. I might actually get a couple extra just to make it the whole width. But you can get a 2x4 because that's what they use for the bottom of the railings to get the distance, to get the height distance, and then it'll help hold your gate up while you get that into place and figure out where it's gonna go. You wanna have about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit less depending on if when you did your measurements you did a 3/4 subtraction or an inch subtraction from the total of your board. So like I said, I'm gonna have a little bit more on top and a little bit less on the bottom, but I'll accommodate for that on this side. But yeah, just wiggle it till you have it in the right spot, and then that's where we're gonna figure out where we're gonna put our hinges and our latches. voila, here is our finished product of the gate. This honestly just took me a couple of hours in the morning. It was a beautiful morning. You guys heard those birds tweeting, and it is a beautiful gate. I hope you guys enjoy this project. I hope it gives you the confidence that you too can install a deck gate for minimal cost. This honestly cost me $57. I already had wood glue on hand, and I obviously already had a drill and a saw, so those didn't cost me anything. But yeah, $57, and we now have protection for the kids and just a beautiful feature to the home. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you out. Brisket onion cheese sandwich. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Thank you. Wait. Okay, you ready? Guys, look at my service. Yeah. Breakfast through the window. Thank you, Chef Carling. Wait. Don't forget to toast. Oh, I don't want cancer.